These are 31 simple Fortnite tips I wish I knew sooner. Tip 1. Learn the meta fast. Fortnite is forever changing, with each season being so different from the last. But the players who stay at the top are the ones who adapt the fastest. They don't fight change, they accept it and adapt, learning the most effective tactics available and taking advantage of the new strategies from day 1 of update. Tip 2. Play intense situations often. People love to play creative and reload because they're high action and low consequence. If you die, you just insta respawn or you're in another round in less than 60 seconds. This is good for getting a lot of fighting practice, but it'll never prepare you for regular ranked or tournaments where the consequence for losing is way higher. And if you don't get yourself in those situations enough, then you'll be way too nervous when they do happen. Tip 3. Actually warm up. I'm led to believe that around 90% of Fortnite players do not warm up. These are players that load Fortnite and instantly load into public match lobbies, which is putting them at a huge disadvantage. Actually warming up doesn't even take a long time. It should just happen as soon as you open the game, you queue into a map. If you played mine, that'd be awesome. But any map with a good free build area where you get your fingers and hands warm for 5 to 10 minutes. Then ideally you could invite a friend to 1v1 for 5 to 10 more minutes, and that's it. Without warming up, it can take you hours to reach your peak skill level, but with a proper warm up, it takes less than 20 minutes. Tip 4. Play confidently. When you see a pro player dominating in tournaments, it kind of shocks you how they make good competitive players look so bad. Like in solo victory cup finals, only the top 1% of players could even qualify to those. Yet pros like Reet and Peterbot would consistently drop 30 and even 40 elim wins in those lobbies. They never ran or dodged a fight to make themselves look scared. They constantly applied pressure, and when you just act like you're a really good player, it forces others to play defensively and get nervous, ultimately causing them to make mistakes that you can take advantage of. Tip 5. Don't be too afraid of Storm in early to mid game. If you started playing Fortnite before chapter 3, being afraid of Zone became engraved into your brain because there was no tactical sprint. We subconsciously knew that if Zone started moving and we were far away, we were most likely dead unless we had a ton of heals. Well, with tactical sprinting and all the mobility now, it's almost hard to die to Zone. So even if you don't have heals, you have plenty of time to wait and get yourself out of a pickle by just sitting in Zone and then eventually looting a couple areas, finding a vending machine. It's actually very easy to find heals and get yourself into Zone. But once the 5-tick zone comes, that's when you should be scared of Zone and try to get out as fast as possible. Tip 6. Learn the entire map. Tying right into the last tip, to actually know where to find heals and vending machines, you need to have a basic knowledge of the entire map. Early on into a season, you should take an hour or two and go into private matches or even replay mode and just scan everything. Learn about hidden loot areas, learn where NPCs spawn and what they drop, learn where mending machines are, special chests, vehicles, campfires, launch pads. You'd be shocked at how big of an advantage you get when you simply have map knowledge. Tip 7. Be comfortable at your setup. It's much harder to be motivated to play and improve if you don't even like sitting at your setup, which is why Sihu is sponsoring this tip with their M18 chair. It's been proven that typical gaming chairs are actually pretty bad if you sit a lot, so Sihu makes comfortable ergonomic chairs specifically designed to keep you comfortable and healthy while gaming. The lumbar support adapts to your specific back. It has a thick cushion designed to relieve pressure. The chair promotes good posture while grinding long gaming sessions. It's rocking adjustable armrests so controller and keyboard players will both be comfortable. It has a good adjustable headrest and even has a nice breathable mesh fabric to stay cool and comfortable. Chairs have gotten pretty impressive, especially for how little they cost now. And once you have your preferred console and monitor, I would say the chair is the third most important piece to a setup. Because again, if you're not even comfortable at your setup, you're not gonna want to grind. So check out the M18 in the description. It's a super reasonable price for comfort, and thanks to Sihu for sponsoring this tip. Tip 8. Don't carry too many weapons. Especially when Fortnite adds fun items like snipers and RPGs, it's really easy to just drop your heals to carry the guns you want. But that can quickly backfire. If your goal is to win, I heavily recommend always having 2 heals and 1 movement item, which leaves just 2 slots for weapons. Typically a shotgun and an AR. In duos or team modes, you might get away with just 1 heal, but the most effective loadout to win is always more heals and more movement. Tip 9. Have 3 drops you know inside and out. Your drop is the most important time in a game, and so many people put no effort into it. They just kind of wing it, which sets you up for instant failure. You can set yourself up for success by knowing exactly where to pull your glider to land first, knowing exactly where each chest spawn and barrel is, knowing where the awkward spots you can't build are. All of this gives you such a big advantage over other players landing at your spot, and if you pick 2 to 3 areas where you learn all of those details, I can almost guarantee guarantee you see more success. Tip 10. If you don't have a lot of time, practice smart. Anytime you play Fortnite, you're practicing, but there are methods that are 10 to 20 times faster at making you improve. So if you don't have a lot of time to play each day, but want to get better, then use the highest speed, most effective strategies when you do play. Those strategies are playing piece control drills, a lot of 1v1s, and any other high action, skillful fighting maps. If you can only play for 1 hour each day, take a week where you only play those modes and you'll be shocked at how fast you improve. Tip 11. Find a good sense and stick with it. I'm part of this issue because I post a lot of settings videos, but the key to getting consistently fast edits and good aim is finding a sensitivity you like and then never changing it. Ree is known as the current best controller player in the world, and it's been over 3 years since he changed his settings. He could probably do every edit in the game with his eyes closed at this point because of how much muscle memory he's built into his fingers using the same settings. Each time you change your settings, you lose that muscle memory, so stop changing them. This also applies the same to keyboard and mouse players. Tip 12. For controller players, learn claw, paddles, or optimize binds. If you're a controller player and you don't at least have optimized binds to be able to jump and edit without taking your thumbs off the sticks, you're at a huge disadvantage. The biggest issue on controller is that when you take your thumbs off the sticks, you either stop moving or you stop aiming. Claw fixes this by allowing you to click all of your buttons while keeping your thumbs on the sticks. Paddles fixes this by allowing you to click at least 2, usually 4 more buttons while keeping your thumbs on the sticks. And optimize binds on a standard controller allows you to use touchpad, L3, and R3 to do the most important actions while keeping your thumbs on the stick. Tip 13. For keyboard and mouse players, also learn optimize binds. Keyboard and mouse players have way more freedom than controller players, but you can still be putting yourself at a big disadvantage by having bad binds. If you have too many actions on your mouse, that can slow you down. If you can't reach a certain button you use often, that can slow you down. So do some research into what binds pros use and what you find comfortable, and then learn them. Tip 14. For early learning, play creative and reload. If you have just changed something major about your settings, binds, or setup, spend time in those most effective practice areas. The piece control and 1v1 maps are the fastest route for you to get used to your new chain. Tip 15. If you're slow at editing, use simple edit. People hate on simple edit, but if you don't play competitively, then it can make you a lot better. Maybe you play on Switch or old gen with a lot of input delay, or maybe you're just too slow and can't do double or triple edits well. Simple edit can almost instantly make you a better player, and it takes less than a day to get used to it. Tip 16. Learn how to play from low ground and high ground. This is something that I actually noticed about myself. In fights, especially against skilled players, I fight way worse on low ground because I almost never practice it. On high ground, I'm dominant, but as soon as I lose height, I lose my confidence and don't know what to do. This is why, especially in 1v1s, you should sometimes deliberately let your opponents get height so you can practice on how to fight from low ground with retakes, unsuspecting shots. There's a lot of strategies you won't learn if you only play low ground or only play high ground. Tip 17. Learn to disengage. Running away from a fight does not mean that you're scared. It means that you're in a bad situation, and if you see an opportunity to leave while the other player is distracted and won't notice, you should take it. Disengaging from a fight is the most effective way to survive. Get yourself kitted up again with heals and mats, and then return later where you have a much higher chance at winning. Tip 18. W key in ranked for the most effective, realistic practice. If you want the best possible fighting practice, then W keying in ranked is the way to go. This will put you in the most real fights against other skilled players. And while 1v1s in creative are faster, if you have extra time to play, you will learn a lot more from fighting ranked players in realistic situations. Tip 19. Farm mats before fighting. I don't know why I see so many players try to fight without farming and then get mad that they died because they ran out of mats. Unless you play ultra aggressive and instantly jump in someone's box, which I don't recommend, then you're going to need a good amount of mats to fight. Personally, I don't fight unless I have at least 400 total materials, which by the way takes no time to get. You just have to smack a few rocks and trees. Tip 20. Watch pros to learn, not for fun. Anytime you watch a pro's YouTube video or live stream, you can learn so much if you actually pay attention. Don't be the person that's just amazed at how they eliminated someone and then move on. Be the person that actually analyzes their decisions and learns from them. Whether that's a certain piece control move that they did, how they pre-fired a build so well, how they rotated without being shot at, you can actually learn from all of this if you try. Tip Tip 21, find new moves from YouTube or Twitch clips. On that same note, you should look for new moves to copy into your own arsenal. Basically, every high ground retake that's ever been done has a YouTube tutorial on how to learn it. Every time a pro does something that you want to be able to do, clip it and play it back in slow motion, learning how they set it up and how they executed it. And then slowly incorporate all of these into moves you now do. Tip 22, practice new moves in slow motion. When you do find those moves that you like, slow motion is an incredibly effective way to learn them. My map has options to go as slow as 0.25 speed. And if you put the Twitch clip or YouTube video that you're trying to learn in slow motion to watch, then you see every detail, which you can slowly learn while copying each detail yourself in game. Once you fully comprehend it, go up to 0.5 speed with it, then 0.75, then finally normal speed. And just like that, you learned a brand new move. Tip 23, practice free building when you're bored. If you're watching videos or a show, or you're just bored in general, free building during those moments can compound to a crazy improvement. With free building, you hardly have to pay attention and you don't need audio at all. Free building is simply about getting faster builds and edits by building more muscle memory. So if you just pick up your keyboard or controller in those bored moments in free build, you're going to get so much faster. Tip 24, 1v1 players that are better than you. Fighting players that are better than you is not always fun. Most of the times it's actually very frustrating, but it's one of the most effective ways to improve. Players that are better than you will immediately expose your weaknesses. If you have a habit of leaving your head unblocked, a good player will use that against you until you stop doing it. It literally forces you to learn better strategies. It also helps you learn more advanced strategies by seeing them so often. Maybe the player you're 1v1ing is really good at pre-firing, so with enough fights against them, not only will you learn how to counter that, but you'll also be more inclined to start pre-firing yourself since you now understand how it works. Tip 25, practice piece control maps. I'll admit, piece control maps are some of the most boring ways to practice in Fortnite, but they're also incredibly effective. Anytime I learn something new, whether it's when I learned claw, when I learned keyboard and mouse, when I learned new binds, every single time I spent hours and hours grinding away in piece control maps because that repetition in building the muscle memory is the fastest way to get better. Tip 26, upgrade your setup if you can. I talked about the chair earlier, but if you have an opportunity to get an upgraded console or upgraded PC, it's the single biggest instant improvement you can see on your skill. I still remember all the way back in Chapter 1 Season X when I bought my first ever PC. Literally overnight, my skill at least doubled simply because I had higher FPS and lower input delay. Tip 27, watch and follow players that share good information. There are certain people in the Fortnite community that find all sorts of tiny tricks and tips which you can accumulate to have a big advantage over players. Some of those people include Martaz, Reese Hub, Destiny. These guys are all great at learning very useful tricks and then sharing them with their audience. So if you follow them on Twitter and YouTube and actively keep up with them, then you'll be among the first to know and use these tricks to your advantage. Tip 28, VOD review, but in a more fun way. I actually take back what I said about piece control drills being the most boring way to practice. VOD reviewing is way more boring, but once again, it's very effective. Whenever you die or even do something good, going back into replays or your clips to watch, analyze, and understand what led to that can help you avoid that situation again, or if it was good, then help you do that situation more. A hack that I use to make VOD reviewing not so boring is just making videos. While editing, I have to watch back all of my gameplay, and so I see things I could have done differently while also being able to post content. Tip 29, make a schedule to practice. A lot of players will be super motivated to go practice, and then after a week it dies down and they completely stop 1v1ing, stop playing piece control drills, stop warming up. And those are all things that we never want to stop doing. So the key is to set a schedule. Whether you want to practice every day, 3 times a week, or even 1 time a week, just write it down and you'll have a specific time and map you need to play. Tip 30, be consistent. Having a schedule helps a ton with being consistent, so this is on that same topic. Practicing a lot for 1 week is good, but if you don't practice again after that, then it's not very effective. The key is to make your practice routine something short and enjoyable enough that you'll do it every single day or every time you have sat on your schedule. Practicing for just 15 minutes per day for an entire year is way better than practicing for 3 hours a day for just a week. Tip 31, have fun. At the end of the day, this is a video game and the point is that you're having fun while playing. It is more fun to be good at that video game, so practice goes a long way. But remember that the end goal is to have fun while you're doing it. If this video helped you, be sure to subscribe and use my map. Consider watching another video, and thanks so much for watching.